Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. An Elmira school caught fire last night. Big Fox's Maggie Hall went to the scene today and brings us the latest details.
It is the second week of school in the Elmira School District, and yet Ernie Davis Academy stands behind me with no students inside. This dispatch went out late Monday night.
Department 6 Elmira for 633, Department 7 Elmira Heights, mutual aid to the city. For a structure fire, Ernie Davis Academy, 933 Hoffman Street.
It was possible today to see debris around the site of the fire that occurred around 10 p.m. last night. There were also tarps covering the roof damage at the academy, and no injuries were reported from the fire. The Elmira Fire Department was back at the school today for an inspection on the aftermath of the blaze. The Elmira Fire Department and the Elmira Heights Fire Department were joined by NYSEG at the scene last night. The Elmira City School District announced that the fire broke out on a roof above the boiler room at the school. The district went on to say that there would be no school today and that this will give the custodial and maintenance staff time to prepare the building for students and faculty to return. In their announcement, the Elmira City School District thanks the responders for all of their efforts. Students and faculty are expected to return to the school tomorrow on Wednesday the 14th. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Elmira.
A Pennsylvania woman charged with criminal attempted homicide has taken a plea deal, according to the Bradford County District Attorney. Jennifer Craig pleaded guilty to aggravated assault and reckless endangerment on Monday. In July 2021, Craig allegedly drove into her husband multiple times and hit him in the head with a rock. Craig is scheduled for sentencing this October 27th.
Congratulations, you are now members of the 117th.
Pat Ryan and Joe Sempolinski were sworn in today in Washington, D.C. Ryan, a Democrat, and Sempolinski, a Republican, are New York's two newest representatives after their victories in special elections last month. Sempolinski will represent the state's 23rd congressional district and Ryan the 19th district. Sempolinski defeated Max Delapia to win the seat vacated by Tom Reed, who left the office in May. He says he will only finish the remaining term, which ends this year. Delapia and Nick Langworthy will face off for the position this November. The understaffed Chemung County nursing facility may be receiving some relief. The Chemung County Legislature voted and reached a contract agreement with new nursing staff agencies. The facility has been having trouble filling RN, LPN, and CNA openings for the past year. To apply for any of these openings, visit Chemung County's website or call the number on your screen. The New York State emergency status for the COVID pandemic ended at midnight last night. Governor Hochul chose to not retain her emergency powers through the executive order this month. While New York has currently left the COVID-19 state of emergency, there have been declarations of emergency in regards to monkeypox and polio. For information on the status of these viruses and how to protect yourself, visit the state's health department website. With the start of fall comes the start of flu season. Big Fox's Josh Feldberg spoke with the Regional Director of Medicine for Guthrie about this upcoming season.
This year will likely be the first year we have a real flu season again, according to medical officials. As a result, many doctors are continuing to recommend getting the flu shot. The flu shot can give you some immunity towards the virus, as well as prevent you from getting sicker if you do get the virus. Big Fox spoke with Guthrie Regional Medical Director Dr. David Reistedt about the importance of the flu shot for this upcoming flu season.
This could get pretty significant in terms of number of exposures and if you're not vaccinated, the illness that you could get, just simply because you'll see it as a relatively new infection as opposed to something that looks similar to what you've had in the last couple of years.
According to Dr. Reistedt, the flu shot isn't the only way you can protect yourself from the flu.
Number one is prevention. So hand washing, anything to keep the respirant from getting into your system. So hand washing to prevent you from touching your face and then breathing in the virus. Wearing a mask is obviously going to be important. And using the hand sanitizer And then the secondary thing would be getting the flu shot.
Flu shots are available now at all Guthrie clinics. The flu shot is also available at other pharmacies, grocery stores, and other medical facilities across the Twin Tiers.
So the flu shot itself is good for at least 8 months. So the flu shot is out now, and that should cover you through the majority of the flu season, all the way up through about March or even into April.
The flu shot is available to everyone starting as young as 6 months. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Corning.
Wegmans Scan app users will have to choose a new way to purchase their groceries. Wegmans announced that they are shutting down the popular Scan app after experiencing heavy losses. The app allowed shoppers to scan and bag items while they moved through the store, which led to abundant shoplifting. The app will officially shut down Sunday, September 18th. The Harris Hill Runway will be undergoing some renovations. The soaring capital of America will have the runway repaved after a unanimous vote from the Chemung County Legislature. The repavement will cost close to $100,000 and is being funded by money from the American Rescue Plan. The county wants Harris Hill to stay the soaring capital of America and bring more soaring competitions to the area. Economists are reacting to the latest inflation data released by the Labor Department. The report revealed prices rose 8.3% compared to last year, higher than many expected. The numbers indicate the Federal Reserve will likely continue on an aggressive path to bring costs down through higher interest rates. Mike Emanuel reports from Washington.
When it comes to high prices, there's been relief at the pump, but that's about it. Tuesday, the government said the annual pace of inflation eased from 8.5% in July to 8.3% last month. That's not as fast a drop as economists expected.
These numbers are clearly hotter. And again, they're just going to remain hotter longer.
Even though gas prices have gone down for weeks now, Americans are still paying more at the pump and the grocery store than they did last year. And that has economists on high alert, waiting to see how much the Federal Reserve will hike interest rates next week.
I think they are going to stay at least at the 75 basis point increase.
In a speech last month, Fed Chair Jerome Powell pledged to keep raising rates until price increases are tamed, even if it causes economic pain.
The Fed needs to see less job growth. It needs to see fewer job openings. It needs to see fewer houses built. It needs to have slower growth in retail sales. All of that is bad news for the average American.
The Biden administration believes the economy is on the right track and interest rate hikes won't lead to massive layoffs. But critics say massive spending is adding fuel to the fire.
The Democrats have no plan for inflation other than to make it worse, to spend trillions more and drive inflation up even more.
Those falling gas prices have driven up consumer sentiment, and voters will have their say on the state of the economy in the midterm elections, now just 8 weeks away. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
When can we expect fall temperatures? Your complete forecast is next. Plus this.
Imagine a world without cancer. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at President Biden's new initiatives to slash cancer death rates in half. All that and more straight ahead.
Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
We've been under some wet weather as we stepped into the second full week of September, about rounding off halfway through the month as we step into the middle of this week. Overall, though, our 5-day precipitation total is up to about a half an inch, and we did add on a few hundredths of an inch and even up to about tenths of an inch of some showers that did push through as we stepped into the afternoon and early evening. However, there was also some filtered sunshine that was in the mix at times, so still saw a little bit of that blue sky, and we will know through the overnight that those skies will continue to clear out. But with clearing, calm and cool conditions in place, we'll watch that there could be some more of that patchy fog that we've been dealing with at times. So do note that it could be dense, so you'll want to make sure to keep the headlights on. No high beams, that actually makes it more difficult to see, and also make sure just to take it easy. We have kids heading out to the bus stop this time of the year. Also make sure that those kids are bundled up, because we're going to see even some cooler air on the way. As what we're setting up to see is that we'll drop down to just about 52 into Elmira, to about 53 into Wayland, Westfield around 51, which is just about on par for averages. We should be dropping into those lower 50s, even a few upper 40s wouldn't be out of the norm. But what we'll see be setting up is that we're going to still have one more day of mild conditions. We'll have some of that fog in the morning. We'll break out of that with some bright sunshine around, few passing clouds, but you'll still note temperatures climbing well within those 70s, which is still average for this time of the year. But we saw a cold front passage. Well, we did see a cold front passage, but what happened is that we saw a low pressure system head well off to the north, and that allowed for us to work into this pocket here before a secondary cold front drops out of Canada and through the Great Lakes. So that's going to give us this warmer trend for the first part of the day, allow for us to see those temperatures climb into the upper 70s. But then when that frontal system passage comes through later on Wednesday, a few showers could shake out, especially into the Finger Lakes, but then you'll also be bringing in some breezy conditions, and we could see winds anywhere from about 15 to up to 25 miles per hour. So a little bit of a breeze. It's going to make it feel a little cooler, but as mentioned, still going to see seasonal conditions hold on for that Wednesday forecast, with 77 in Elmira, with the average for this time of the year at 76. Westfield there at 74 degrees, Bath around 77. So looking at seasonal. But then here's your flip. By Thursday, we see that frontal system make that passage, and those temperatures are able to fall into the 60s as we stay under that sunshine. So 66 into Elmira is looking at nearly 10 degrees below average. Now we will expect to stay under some of this sunshine and bring back those more seasonal temperatures. Still slightly below average, but comfortable, more fall-like on Friday with a high of 72 degrees and those mostly sunny conditions. And then the warming trend is back in store. We'll see that temperatures and the extended forecast and what the Climate Prediction Center has been putting out is that we should return back into those 80s as early as Saturday with some partly cloudy skies. 80s back by Sunday at 83, but then we will see another frontal system bring us a chance for showers as we head into that Monday forecast, which looks to again drop those temperatures back into the 70s on Tuesday.
The Biden administration launching new initiatives to eradicate cancer. Jackie Ibanez takes a look at what the president says needs to happen to make that dream a reality.
It doesn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Beating cancer is something we can do together.
President Biden calling on Americans to unify against a disease that knows no party lines. Proclaiming at the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library and Museum in Boston Monday that his administration is working to end cancer as we know it.
The goal is to cut cancer death rates by at least 50% in the next 25 years.
This year alone, the American Cancer Society estimates there will be 1.9 million new diagnosed cancer cases, with more than 600,000 cancer-related deaths. But Biden believes it's possible to turn a cancer diagnosis from a death sentence to a chronic disease that can be better prevented and managed.
I'm calling on the private sector to develop and test new treatments, share more data and knowledge that can inform the public and benefit every company's research.
To do that, the president is calling for advancements in therapeutics, like using mRNA vaccine technology used in many COVID-19 vaccines to potentially stop the spread of cancer cells.
We're learning more about how to use genetics, immune response, and other factors,
as well as advocating for lower cost treatments to help prevent healthcare inequities. But as the Biden administration aims to tackle cancer, a new Associated Press NORC poll finds a glaring dissatisfaction with the overall U.S. healthcare system, revealing less than half of Americans think it's handled well.
Well, if you're trying to replace your backyard deck or install new windows for your house, you've probably had to wait longer and spend more money than you'd like to get exactly what you need. Jake Alexis is at a lumber yard in Washington State with more on that story.
Supply chain issues caused by the pandemic have put a big backlog on lumber orders, and a spike in demand is putting more pressure on distributors.
It's been a huge thing that we're still trying to recover from.
This lumber mill just outside Seattle gets wood shipped in from Canada. But during COVID, suppliers struggled with staffing shortages and stopped taking orders. With less supply, prices went up.
The cost of inventory is twice what it was previously, so just being able to afford carrying that much inventory can be a little bit difficult.
In 2019, Amble was paying $8 for a 4x8 foot piece of plywood. Now he's paying $50. That's not the only problem. Demand for lumber is also on the rise.
Sales across the building industry spiked. All the DIYers were coming out to do their own projects, which created this huge demand for material, but there was no production behind it to supply it.
The shortage is felt beyond the lumber mills, like with home improvement companies.
6 months ago, we were still getting delivery times for some wood windows and doors, year and a half out.
Gavosk buys lumber from Amble for window and door replacements. He used to order every few weeks. Because of shipping delays, now it's several months in advance. This makes scheduling renovations tougher.
It was difficult to, get people on board to do the job if we were not able to give them exact dates, like when we'll have all the stuff that we need to do the job.
Amble says this is uncharted territory for people and businesses who depend on lumber.
We're at a point now where I've never been before. The building industry is going to have to start adjusting to what's available in the supply side.
Amble says before the pandemic, he was getting his lumber shipped in 3 to 4 weeks. Now, it's taking twice as long.
Still ahead tonight, a nurse on board Spirit Airlines flight to Orlando helped save a baby struggling to breathe. That story and more coming up. A nurse on board a Spirit Airlines flight to Orlando helped save a baby struggling to breathe. Ian Cassette was on board that flight and has more on this story.
This is my cell phone video of the aftermath. Obviously, I didn't want to record anything until I knew the 3-month-old little girl was going to be okay. The mother was pleading for help, and that's when the crew got over the loudspeaker and asked for any doctors or nurses to come and help. It felt like forever as we all sat silent, waiting for someone to speak up. After several seconds, an RN on board got out of her seat and rushed to help the baby in the front of the plane. We all just sat there and watched.
Your heart falls and you spring into action, and we started, massaging the baby's chest more aggressively, trying to get it to breathe, massaging its legs.
Nurse Tamara Panzino gave the baby oxygen, did chest compressions, massaged the infant's legs and chest, and suddenly the child came back. The passengers, including myself, didn't know the outcome until we saw the smile on everyone's faces. It was an amazing moment and one that I will never forget.
I'm not one to jump into drama or anything like that. I was really hoping someone else was going to be a doctor. But when you have to step forward and do what's right, you do. And it was just a happy story. It made me feel really good.
The latest on the Twitter takeover battle, railroad workers could go on strike as early as this Friday. A shakeup at Peloton and a former Disney CEO will now mentor startups. CJ Papa has today's business briefs.
Elon Musk may not want to go through with his purchase of Twitter, but company shareholders are reportedly fine with that plan. Early voting suggesting the acquisition will be approved by a large margin. The social media company is trying to force Musk to go through with the $44 billion bid, but Musk is balking over issues with disclosing just how many spam accounts are on the platform. 2 major unions are threatening to go on strike this Friday in what could be the first national railroad strike in 30 years. The unions accusing railroad companies of, quote, corporate terrorism as the 2 sides battle it out over a new contract. The American Association of Railroads estimating a work stoppage could cost more than $2 billion per day and lost economic output. The co-founder and chairman of Peloton is leaving the company over a management shakeup. John Foley stepped down as CEO back in February. His resignation coming as the company restructured, with sales slipping since the pandemic subsided. Former Disney CEO Bob Iger joining venture capital firm Thrive Capital to advise on mentoring startup founders and identifying new investment opportunities. Iger won't be a full-time employee, instead advising on day-to-day initiatives. He stepped down from Disney in February of 2020. That's business. I'm CJ Papa.
Stay with us, everybody. We'll have more after the break. Well, how about this? A major discount store and a toy store known for high-end toys enter into a partnership to help you buy toys for Christmas. Target and FAO Schwarz now have an agreement to bring some toy lines, including exclusive ones, to Target. The 2 companies will have selections from Bullseye Top Toys list that kids want, including Rainbow High, Lego's Harry Potter, Yahtzee Frenzy Game, FAO's Makeup Vanity, and Jurassic World Dominion. 120 items are included, ranging in price from $9.99 to $149.99. Starting in mid-October, you can find toys from FAO Schwarz in Target stores. I'm Harriet Wallace. Thanks so much for watching.